I'm starting to learn how shitty it is to really record on a phone. Because the moment someone just calls you, or just, you get a message and just fucks the whole thing up. That and this goddamn lighting I can't get set up with. These lights just, they bend and you move and you can move them, but I can't get it, because like, fuck. Whatever, so I'm gonna try this again. So, Mr. Dulkillin anime? Dulkillin? I think that's how he pronounces it. I'm not sure. But, because it's kind of hard for me to tell, because I am not very good with pronunciation, but Mr. Dulkillin, or Hillin, I'm stopping, did a video on a woman's worth. So, this topic for me is exceedingly ironic, given its timing. So, and that's kind of my whole reason for doing this, because like it's just weirdly related to what I was doing in school right now. So, this video is going to be broken up into 3 parts. And the first part is the story about why this is incredibly ironic, and this is all going to tie into itself. But next is kind of about what relativism with women and the treatment of women. Well, not so much the treatment of women, but the treatment of women. Like, I'll explain what relativism is in a second, and the portrayal and status of women today, which you will understand once I tell my story, and just some ending comments about something said. But so. I'm not sure what English class. Well, no, it was American literature, wasn't it? Yeah. So Mr. Dulkillin anime is taking American literature. So that's nice, and I am currently taking English class known as Contemporary Identities, which in a sense is kind of like English for hipsters, considering we only have like 9 students in the whole thing. But what Contemporary Identities is, it's essentially we kind of look at society and the way it works. That's sort of the idea of contemporary identity, of the contemporary identities class. We don't really do a retrospective thing. We just kind of like move from topic to topic, and like our current topic right now is the Beat Generation. So think books like On the Road, The Rebels, post World War II. Yeah, I think during / post World War II, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's those sort of writers who are just kind of against social norms. But so in the topic before that, which the source of this irony for me, it was the portrayal of women in the media. Yeah, and this is gonna sound strange if you ever watched this play. And you talk about, the usual revenge stuff about it, but we did this looking through the lens of the play Hamlet. Now, the play Hamlet, well, first, so we just finished our test literally 2 days ago on Hamlet. And so, after looking through a perspective, we had to do, like, a normal, like, standard test, which was really weird from my teacher, because he's kind of like one of those teacher interviews who's always getting called to meetings and, like, talking about new ways to teach students, and he's always teaching us, like, not in a very traditional way, but, so that kind of test was sort of standard, by the way, knocked in the ballpark, but after that we had an essay question, and that essay question was something roughly long enough. Write a 3-page paragraph essay about the portrayal of women and the roles in Hamlet, and also in your last paragraph try to include something about the portrayal of women and their status today. So the page, like most people wrote a page on it, and so I wrote well, the first page of the period. I had one full page done, and I was like, wait, I'm not done yet. So He's like, "You're not done yet? Oh well, come in during your lunch and finish it." So I came in during lunch, took the computer lab. 3 pages later, I still wasn't done, and he was like, Mr. Gray, I didn't get to that last paragraph, but it's pretty good so far. And I was like, "You're still not done? All right, come in tomorrow during your lunch because we're going to be doing something interesting that day." So after that, I went into the lunch, and I managed to write another 2 pages in the span of 45 to 42 minutes, give or take. So my final essay was my final essay on this was about 5 pages long. in total, well, handwritten. If you type in the computer, if you type in MLA format, probably be about 3 pages. My handwriting is not very good, nor is it very neat or clean. So, and by the end, I had talked about Hamlet, The Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, and I snuck a little anime at the end there. So yeah, need to say it was relatively comprehensive in comparison, I suppose. But moving on to college, so I can't really call that whatever that word I choose. But and what I did in that essay, I talked about the portrayal of Ophelia, Gertrude, and then I talked about the women of The Walking Dead, mostly Lori, and I talked about the women of Breaking Bad, mostly Skylar. However, I did throw in a quick 1-2 jab of the other bad females in those shows, and how they're just some of the worst females I've ever seen, even by anime standards. But what I learned mid this whole thing is the play Hamlet is not very kind to women. It's really not, and I suppose this is slightly off topic, but geez, I'm 7.5 minutes in. If this goes any longer, I might have to split this into 2 parts. But what I learned is that besides Hamlet not teaching women very well, according to the portrayal of the media, when women are subservient to men. That's the first part. So if you look at Ophelia's actions, like Ophelia breaking off her relation with Hamlet because her dad told her to, then going to listen to Hamlet because Hamlet told her to, then Gertrude pretty much being a complete dunce from Hamlet, and she's listening to Claudius like obediently, completely. But then Hamlet, Hamlet, and I was gonna say Shakespeare, but Hamlet, Shakespeare, same play, same writer, but Hamlet decides to give the female kind the 1-2 punch, and I literally say this, like it's a 1-2 punch by Hamlet to the pride of literally any female, because if you know anything about the play, the women are subservient to men, can't make their own decisions, they're fragile mentally, emotionally. And after that, the women just go on to make the dumbest of choices in the entire play. Now you kind of have to look through this. Well, in Ophelia's case, you kind of have to look through it through the lens of their time. And if you don't know anything about Hamlet, I'm going to spoil you. So pause. I don't know. Pause. Blah, 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 blah. I'll go like this when I'm done. So, if you're really looking forward to Hamlet, which I don't know, which most teenagers aren't, but I love Hamlet. I mean, I loved Hamlet and I love Shakespeare because once you get it into your head, everything's a metaphor. Not bad. So, and I mean every word they're speaking, so. Because, Hamlet made up half the words, but off topic. So, spoiler, Ophelia, after Hamlet kills Polonius, her father, so he killed the father of his girlfriend by accident. Ophelia goes batshit insane. And I was lucky enough to see the movie version of this, which was kind of hilarious to see her go insane because, you know, she's like on the ground conversing, humping, quoting. Brilliantly hilarious and brilliantly evil. But yeah, she goes insane, and eventually she kills herself by suicide. And there's this whole grave robber scene talking about her like why is she getting special treatment, because back then, like the way we can interpret suicide today is sort of like an escape from the pain of the world. Like that's one way of looking at it, and it's rather popular nowadays. But the way they saw it was, you didn't like kill yourself to get away from this. No, you killed yourself. Like kill, like like you would like. It was like worse. Like suicide back then was worse than killing a. Like it was like worse than killing a baby. So done with spoilers. Yeah, done with spoilers. You may return. You may return. Is this cranberry or cherry? No, it's a cranberry. I love cranberry juice. So yeah, it was back then. It was seen as you pretty much you did the thing that you weren't supposed to ever in your life, no circumstances. And then slightly more spoilers, I guess. Gertrude, this cubic zirconium gem of a woman, also a term I used in my essay. I recommend, like, even if you don't like spoilers, I recommend you listen to this, because this was just pure idiocy by Gertrude. So towards the end of the play, she's like, things are starting to fall apart. After, literally, this is literally just after Ophelia's death. Claudius needs Gertrude to help. Claudius needs help from Gertrude to help calm Laertes down. And he's like, come on, Gertrude, and she's like, Now that was good on her part, but well, good for us. She's like, yeah, she's getting stronger, I guess, or being more independent. But back then it would seem like a serious like no, because relativism, which I'll get to in a second, and Claudius was. So towards the end of the play, like Claudius tries to poison Hamlet with a drink, and Gertrude goes to hand us with a cup, and like Hamlet's like, no, don't want that. And she's like, and so Gertrude's about to drink from it, and he's like, Gertrude! Everyone in the hall turns. He's like, don't drink. So she's like, oh, but my lord, I must drink. All giggly and shit. And she's poisoned. Like, did you not even think about why he screamed? So that's the 1-2 punch by Hamlet. It really just is. And I could go on to rant about Laurie, not Michonne. What was that white woman's name with the governor? Whatever. Don't get offended Don't be offended by that white woman in comments, Mr. Don't Kill It Anime. And I could go on throughout how much everybody hates Skylar. But I'm sure most of you have already seen that, so I won't need to go on about that. So that's just kind of the thing about this. And so women's portrayal, they're not very bright. They're not very bright, so they need to be controlled. Because when they're not controlled, they'll just do the dumbest of things you could ever think. No, not even dumb. Just like the most horrific of acts of the time. So finally, to the part 2 of this video, the relativism. So I'm also in a philosophy class, as well as a psychology class, which sort of ties into this, but not really. Relativism is basically like. It's basically exactly what it says on the tin, #TV tropes. Relativism is basically saying, like, it's exceedingly situational. Everything is. And what's interesting about it is that, like, in philosophy, relativism is kind of like the dirty word that you don't want someone, like, you don't want a peer to call you, because if it is, it's kind of like career-ending-ish, apparently. I don't know. But that's kind of the level of relativism and how naughty it's taken, I guess. And because mostly because it... Sorry about that. It mostly prevents intelligent conversation. That's the subtext for it. Because if you just if you're asking yourself the big questions in life, you just kind of go, meh, it's all relative, which is kind of like a hilarious joke or something. It's like, whatever, like justice will be this, then it'll be that, then it'll be something about bologna sandwiches, then it'll be back to the regular justice, whatever regular is, philosophy. So, and treatment of women is, you can sort of say it's like that, because as you said in your video, Mr. Delicate Anime, the women, the women of other nations, if you look at Saudi Arabia, or I really shouldn't have said by country, because now I'm just gonna look really stupid if I get it wrong. I'm gonna stop right there. But the women of those places are usually seen as, or they usually have to be exceedingly controlled. Like, you know how it is. You know how crappy the world can be sometimes. But the thing is, here we treat women slightly better. I mean slightly. I mean, sure, they can have jobs, they can make money, though not as much as a man with not as much as a one of those, meat sacks with that dangling thing between his legs, which is exceedingly vulnerable to being kicked there. But I kind of think that's a good trade-off, because I do not want to be a woman ever. Menstruation, childbirth, things like that. Yeah, you women got that on lock. You women got that. Just not me. Not for me. No way. Thank you. So, you have to kind of say, like, it is relative. Like, I think the war, like, if you want to call, because I'm not gonna limit your opinion, but if you want to call, like, moving towards equality, progression, then the world progresses slowly. Some parts slower than others, but it usually all just comes with education. Education is like the #1 for anything. Even childbirthing numbers. You want people to stop having children because your population's like up the fucking roof, like Africa. Educate them. And I'm not talking about like just regular like sex ed shit like that, but because that doesn't work. Well, for them anyway, because different culture completely. But culture, glad I brought that up. I'll get to that in a second. But educate them, and they kind of stop having babies. It's kind of interesting to see. But yeah, culture, and culture is like, with almost the definition of relative. Like, you could see like starting signs, because it's kind of hard to tell how, like, I don't study history, so you kind of have to look at how culture starts, and under those circumstances, which is like, it can be relative in some, because like, I remember watching a video quite a long time ago about pop by Pop Diva something. Been a while since I've seen her videos, but it was like, she basically said that America is the only country or society in the world that could make superheroes. Why? Because America was kind of just like a victory story. I mean, because you know how Americans can be obsessed with like how awesome we are. Talk to me. And like, if you go back into their histories, like they were basically ragtag people, villagers, and they beat the big dogs of the world. granted, they weren't as big as you might think, because, you know, England, the British Empire was actually broke, which they called the burden of empire. No joke. They had no money, so they called it, oh, it's the burden of empire. We just have to spend all our money on these colonies, even though we're not really getting much of a return. But yeah, colonies were sort of socio status. But the hell was I talking about? British stuff. Oh god, I just totally forgot my topic. Women. But oh yeah, so it's like, so in this way, so cultures are completely relative, and therefore their treatment of women is going to be totally relative. Made to rebound. But I think that there's also some body, you know, related things, because men are completely competitive by nature, and when I mean by nature, I mean completely by nature. What are you doing, cat? And this is because I was like, well, we sort of have to be by nature because we are animals at the end of the day, albeit very intelligent and also very stupid ones at the same time. But it's like, the women or females of any animal species, always looking for the best of the best of the best. So what do we need to do? We need to be the best of the best of the best. And if the women who are looking for the best of the best start trying to compete with the best of the best, yeah, by rules of nature, that's going to conflict. I mean, like, if you take psychology, we also talk about this. I think it was part of Freud's psychology, even though he wasn't entirely accurate, but, like, what men will do sometimes is, and if you're a man, don't deny that you've done this, because we all have, you can see when you see a strong female in, albeit, I'm not even sure if albeit is the right term for it, but, in media, in anime, hi cat, in whatever it may be, you man-anize them just a little bit. And, like, it's like, so it's like, oh, she's a real strong woman. Must be a lesbian. Perfect example of that, Hillary Clinton. Enough said. People called her a lesbian all the time, even though she has a wife and 2 kids. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know how many kids she has. She could have 1 kid for all I know. I don't pay attention to these kind of things. So, this video is on 22 minutes. It was kind of long-winded. But I'm going to tie this all together in a part 2 of this. And that part is going to be about the status of women today and how we judge value. To just, you know, to tie it in with Mr. Dull Hill and Anime's point a little better. So, see you in part 2.